All right, ladies and gentlemen, there are rumors abound that Qatar is about to make a major play in Bitcoin. And by major play, we're talking about $500 billion, as it is rumored that Qatar's sovereign wealth fund could go balls deep into Bitcoin. What is going on? Is it rumor? Is it fiction? Is it a blend of both? Sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire, and what we do know is that geopolitical game theory is in effect with Bitcoin in a major way. But hey, let's get to the bottom of this. Is Qatar going balls deep into Bitcoin? We got a lot to cover. Let's get it.
Party, that party. Yeah, come and have a good time with G.O.D.
Okay, so we do know that Qatar visited Nayib Bukele and the leaders, they came together. What was talked about? What went on? Max Keiser has been on the forefront of this, kind of putting things out there, but looking forward to the team. Also made a similar trip to Qatar. We think Qatar is orange-pilled. In this tweet, he's talking about Argentina, Malay, and what might be happening there as well. But now back to that article from the intro, and it looks like the latest buzz in some circles is that Qatar's sovereign wealth fund is eyeing a colossal $500 billion investment in Bitcoin, and it has ignited some excitement, as it was the great Max Keiser reporting rumors that Qatar's sovereign wealth fund is thinking about entering the Bitcoin market in a major way. And again, it was an original tweet by Keiser hypothesizing that Qatar could be a major force in the Bitcoin realm. Although unverified, this rumor suggests a monumental shift in the Bitcoin landscape in nation-state adoption. And again, going back to the introduction, we have seen Qatar and El Salvador visit, the camaraderie there, very interesting. But another thing to think about are other nations looking toward El Salvador, the savior, to figure out how to bring the bright orange future to their nations. Now, here is Samson Mao, head of JN3. His mission is to bring nation-to-state adoption with Breedlove. Let's check this out.
Are they drawing examples or inspiration from El Salvador? Because the first time I had heard of volcano mining was post El Salvador. Is that a model that they're emulating or in any way drawing lessons from?
I think they're definitely looking at El Salvador. Like, all eyes are watching and seeing how they're developing. So success in El Salvador is good for Bitcoin. And I think all the work that people have been doing there, the Bitfinex guys and Max and Stacy, that's great. Keep that running, because that is a beacon that we can point to, and we can look at El Salvador and see what they're doing, right? So the head of operations at Jan3, Doogie, he likes to say El Salvador is a beachhead. We have a small foothold, and we need more of these. Because, as you know, the powers that be want to roll out CBDCs.
Of course.
We have to fight and counter that with Bitcoin. That's the only counter.
That's a great point. Yeah, so Bitcoin Beach is our beachhead then.
Literally.
All right, and then Forbes, this article is from December 7th. Secret sovereign bid. Is this the real shock? The reason behind the huge, Bitcoin pump that led into the new year? It is possible. But as we can see this tweet from Martini Guy, Qatar is going to buy Bitcoin. They want to allocate billions. Qatar could be the reason that Bitcoin pumps to 300K in 2024. Not completely going to take that off the table. But if we go a little further, there is some community notes here. False. It's illegal to trade crypto in Qatar, and the government never announced interest in buying Bitcoin. TMG responded with some evidence of his own. We may be missing the forest for the trees. There may be something much bigger here at play than just Qatar. It may be every nation state that is going to have to adopt Bitcoin. Don't take it from me. Let's go ahead and check on Franklin Templeton's executive, who expects all nations to hold Bitcoin. Well, every nation is going to have to hold some Bitcoin in their reserves, according to them. Let's see. So we have Franklin Templeton executive. Bitcoin could be used as a base unit of international trade. Quote, I think it's also that it's going to become something that every treasury needs to hold, because portions of their businesses will just be facilitated more easily through Bitcoin payments than through foreign exchange conversions that need to happen to enable cross-border trade today. And she also added, I do still think that the potential to see this used as the base unit of international trade exists. I think at minimum, you're going to see it used for certain types of trade, and added that means that every country is going to have to hold some reserves, and so I just see it working its way increasingly into the traditional banking ecosystem as just a foundational part of the system. Now we can go back, look at maybe some things Hal Finney said. We're going to do a full episode on that, into how not only did he foresee maybe a $10 million Bitcoin, that it would be the base layer and banks would be forced to hold Bitcoin. But that's for another time. Bitcoin aligns these kind of perfect free market incentives with the hardest money ever created or discovered, along with the strongest computing network on the planet. But that is why, at the end of the day, Bitcoin adoption is not an option. BlackRock adopted it because they have no choice. Larry has to win. He wants to win. The incentives are there. They want to be a major player. They've got 3 to 4 billion lined up on the sidelines, ready to go when this thing goes live. Go ahead and check that out. But when it comes to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is like gunpowder. If your army doesn't adopt it, you lose. Bitcoin is financial gunpowder. Countries and companies that do not adopt it will lose to those that do. We say this all the time. This is just how it's going to play out in the game theory. We're going to see who's going to be the winners and losers. That's what we're hoping. Maybe the United States will step up and be that beacon of freedom that it once was, that we're kind of really getting away from, unlike El Salvador. But let's go ahead and listen to the author of the Bitcoin Standard, Austrian economist, legend, Saifedean. Bitcoin is gunpowder.
It's not optional. I mean, you will either move there or you will watch your wealth lose its value as the people who put their money there appreciate. You know, I mean, just think about it. You know, if you have $1 million and you put them in a currency that's constantly depreciating, where somebody has $10,000 and puts them in a currency that's constantly appreciating, it's only a matter of time until they overtake you. And, you know, people are not stupid. They will realize this and they will want to move forward. So when I talk about Bitcoin adoption, people think of it as being like, say, Apple iPhone adoption. You know, it's very nice and very cute, and then people will buy it. But I think that's not the model for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is more like gunpowder adoption. You know, if you think about it, did the French army have a choice whether they should adopt gunpowder or not? You know, did they decide, no, you know what, we like to keep it real with sticks and stones and swords, and we're not going to use gunpowder? If, you know, any army that decided to do this, it didn't matter, because then another army with gunpowder would come and take over France. So eventually everywhere in the world ended up with gunpowder, either because people adopted it or because it was used against them. And I think Bitcoin is like that. Bitcoin is like financial gunpowder. It's the safest way of sending money halfway around the world, the most secure way, and it's the hardest money that we've ever invented. So it's not something that is, you know, whether we should or want to, or whether people, you know, we try to win people over. And this, you know, this is why my book is not marketing for Bitcoin, because I don't think marketing for Bitcoin matters. At the end of the day, this is economic reality. The harder money will mint.
And there are also a lot of other factors that are going to be pushing people and nations into Bitcoin, because they don't want to be surveilled by some other nation's CBDC tool for tyranny technology. And here is the Prince of Serbia, Prince Philip, quote, "With the help of some really good Bitcoiners, I'm opening up a hub in Serbia to educate people and use the education to start lobbying for change of laws. Serbia is the right place for Bitcoiners." And this was at a panel on nation-state adoption. Let's check it out.
Currently, we've got a few conversations happening. Maybe I'll start with Liechtenstein. As you know, Liechtenstein, they are very much into their Austrian economics, and we have a few ground-level conversations happening. Some with a couple of individuals. One of them who's actually doing a good job orange pilling the current prime minister. So hopefully that will develop into some good news eventually. The other news is I recently found out that my cousin, Prince Philip in Brazil, obviously Brazil's not a monarchy, but he is a member of parliament that was just re-elected into the seat, member of parliament of Sao Paulo. So I've reached out to him, and he's been welcoming to hold some, you know, to have a meeting with him. Then there is my home country, Serbia. Last year they implemented, I want to call them the best crypto laws, but at least they recognize Bitcoin. They didn't ban it, but they've imposed capital gains tax, which is not great, and they have a lot of barriers of entry into the space. And for existing crypto companies, I hate saying the word crypto, but yeah, it's tough for them to get licensed. So I've actually I'm opening up a hub there with the help of some really good local Bitcoiners to educate people, and I'll use the education there and the conversations there to start lobbying for change with crypto laws to make it so they're more welcoming, because Serbia has a problem with a huge brain drain problem. This has been going on for 30, 40 years. More people are leaving the country than they are being born in the country, and this has to stop. Otherwise, it's a demographical nightmare. And Serbia is a right place for Bitcoiners. They've got a good mindset there. They've gone through a lot. They had the third worst hyperinflation in the history of humans. And so it's important that they understand and they welcome Bitcoin, and so we can create jobs and tempt people back.
You know what, guys? I think it's time to make money great again. If it ever was great, maybe on the gold standard. That's as close as we got. Maybe the yacht people. But then they got screwed. But the base language of value has been corrupted. And it has been corrupted ever since, well, we can say the Federal Reserve. And they temporarily went off gold during World War I and World War II before saying to hell with it all. We're living in fantasy land where we can do whatever we want and make these middle-class people our chattel over time. What we are forced to use, a money that steals from us, that's not real money. That's a quote-unquote currency that's issued by a state. It only has value because they force it to have value. It's not on its merit, it's by decree. So otherwise it has nothing to stand on. But because of that, because of the possible savior that is El Salvador, setting an example for the rest of the world, the chance to make money again, to make freedom great again, well, we're getting pretty close.
Whereas in El Salvador, they're making Bitcoin legal tender. They're making money again, which is a very rare thing in the world today.
Let's make money again.
Let's make money again.
And now with the most powerful institutions in the world like BlackRock, Van Eck, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, the like, all getting into Bitcoin, not to mention nation states and the history of which these kind of people have. You want to get your Bitcoin off of exchanges and into self-custody. And if you need help with any of that, we got just the guys to get you covered. Simply Bitcoin Originals are powered by the Bitcoin Way. And as your dedicated Bitcoin IT team, Bitcoin Way is here to guide you from start to finish on your journey to properly self-custody your Bitcoin. What's more, they've recently introduced 100% privacy-focused collaborative custody services where you're going to benefit from advanced multi-sig security, inheritance planning, and much more while remaining 100% in control. Looking to get started? You can book a free 30-minute call using that link below. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bitcoin bullish momentum continues to build. And we know at the end of the day, there's going to be those that adopt Bitcoin and win, and those that don't and lose. So what are you gonna do? Hey, thanks for stopping in, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share that Sound Money Gospel. Be sure to check those links below. Join us on Telegram and follow us on Twitter where we're getting all the latest breaking news. Set those notifications. Keep tuning in to Simply Bitcoin, your #1 destination for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. I'll catch you next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.